Why hello there, loyal viewers. TripleJump here. Are you sick and tired of getting a restful night's sleep? Have you had enough of not feeling constantly anxious? Have you got far too many pairs of unruined underpants? Well, my lucky friends, do I have the solution for you. The entries on this list. That's right, for the low price of whatever these titles cost in the Steam sale, you too can say goodbye to feeling safe in your own home, farewell to not weeing yourself on the regular, and hello to crying yourself to sleep at night, for those of you who aren't already doing that. So get your sofa cushions at the ready, folks, because we're about to take a fear-inducing stroll through the terrifying depths of horror gaming to uncover the titles that are so scary, even we couldn't make it all the way through to the end. I hope you have your brown trousers on, because I'm Peter from TripleJump, and here are 10 horror games so terrifying we couldn't finish them. Number 10. Amnesia: The Dark Descent. Let's be honest, you all knew this one was going to be on here, so we might as well get it out of the way early. Set in 1830s Prussia, Amnesia: The Dark Descent places you in the shoes of protagonist Daniel, a lovely young chap from London who awakens in a big scary castle to find that he has no memory of anything except for his name and the fact that he lives in Mayfair. I've got a hotel on there, you know. I think you owe me £2,000. Sorry. Oh, and one other small thing. You're being hunted by some ungodly entity that manifests itself as a parade of fleshy abominations hell-bent on separating you from this mortal coil. What makes Amnesia so darn terrifying, however, is the player's inability to fight back against these slack-jawed monstrosities. Granted, you can hide and sneak about, but if these fellas get a hold of you, it's game over, buddy. Add into the mix a chilling soundtrack and creepy gothic setting, and you end up with an atmosphere of sheer dread that would put the willies up the best of us. Not in a good way. Number 9. Project 03. Released on the PS2 back in 2005 by the good people at Tecmo, and known to the rest of the world as Fatal Frame 3, because we just have to be different here in Europe, don't we? Project 03 follows Ray, a young photographer mourning the death of her late fiancé. This fiancé was killed in a car crash that is heavily implied to be Ray's fault, and we're struggling to find a joke to lighten the mood, so let's just move on. As if that isn't dark enough, she's also cursed by a spirit that causes terrifying nightmares of a haunted manor house, whose inhabitants sadly do not have the warm, approachable temperament of Casper the Friendly Ghost. Armed with only a camera, Ray must traverse the Dream Manor each night while she sleeps to uncover the reason for her curse and ultimately figure out how to break it. Without relying on cheap scares, Project 03 manages to keep the player thoroughly creeped out throughout its admittedly short run, capturing a spooky and tense atmosphere, all while delivering a story that will truly get under your skin. Number 8. Alien Isolation. Although over 40 years old, the original Alien and its sequel Aliens are still widely regarded as some of the finest examples of horror filmmaking, which is why Alien Isolation had an awful lot of work to do to make up for the absolute mick take that was Aliens Colonial Marines.
Look at them just with their arms out. Oh, it's a little hop. Little air sit.
But oh boy, did it redeem the franchise in style. Because if Alien Isolation didn't have you plopping your pants throughout, then I can only assume you're some sort of actual psychopath. Playing as Amanda Ripley, daughter of horror icon and general badass Ellen, you're part of a team charged with retrieving the flight recorder from the Nostromo in order to find out exactly what happened after the events of the first Alien movie. As you can imagine, it all goes swimmingly and the crew is back home in time for afternoon tea. Sarcasm aside, Alien Isolation is a masterclass in building suspense and tension, invoking terror in the player by creating a consistently uncomfortable atmosphere from knowing that the xenomorph could literally be anywhere. Is he around this corner? Under this table? In this fridge? Who knows? Certainly not me, and also not you until it's too late. Sorry about that. Number 7. Haunting Ground. Another entry here from our friends in Japan. Gosh, it's almost like they're really good at horror media or something. And I'll be honest, this game has been included in this list simply because the enemies are a veritable conga line of creepy dudes with weird aspirations. Awakening after a car accident, yeah, another one, in an unlocked cage wrapped only in a sheet, you play as Fiona, a young woman who must work out where she is, why the heck she's there, and how on earth she's going to get out. The other inhabitants, on the other hand, have other ideas. General spooky atmosphere aside, you can look forward to meeting the likes of Debilitas, the giant groundskeeper who thinks you're one of his dolls, Daniela, the maid who's jealous of your ability to, experience pleasure, and Ricardo, a villain with the face of your dead dad who plans to use you to bring about his own rebirth so that he can be immortal. That's a whole lot of nope from me, thank you.
No.
You do, however, get to befriend a rather cute tail wagger along the way, which provides some light relief, and we were actually able to make it slightly further through this one purely because he's such a good boy. Still, not all the way through though, not after the whole rebirthing your dead dad thing. Oh, no thanks. Number 6, Soma. For the same reason that the thought of being confined in outer space scares the pants off us, so does the thought of being trapped underwater. What's worse than being trapped underwater, though, is being stuck in a research facility knowing that you're among a handful of the last surviving human beings on the planet. Throw into the mix a bunch of hulking enemies, and the discovery that your body actually died up on the surface and that your consciousness has been transplanted into the corpse of one of the fallen researchers, and you've got a recipe for a weekend you'd probably rather forget. Whilst it nails all the horror basics, you know, atmospheric terror, puzzles, big creepy monsters and so on, what Soma really lands is its particular brand of isolation. That feeling that you and your colleagues are the last of mankind. You're all alone down there at the bottom of the ocean, and no one is coming to save you from this nightmare. And that, dear viewers, is where true terror lies. Number 5, Eternal Darkness. When one thinks of Nintendo, one probably thinks of Mario, Kirby, Link, and other such brightly coloured cartoon friends. What one probably doesn't think of is psychological horror. Released on the GameCube of all platforms back in 2002, Eternal Darkness is an epic but scary adventure set across thousands of years, with players able to take control of around a dozen different characters. The story focuses on Alexandra, a delightful young lady whose grandfather's body has just been discovered sans head. After she locates the Tome of Eternal Darkness, the tale jumps back and forth between the present day and numerous chapters of the past, allowing players to explore a variety of different locations across various periods of history. Clearly drawing a lot of inspiration from Resident Evil, Eternal Darkness takes you on a terrifying journey, with a simple murder mystery quickly unraveling into a supernatural quest for humanity's survival. Utilizing fourth wall breaking insanity mechanics to its distinct advantage, and eschewing the traditional monsters or psycho killers for something far more archaic, players are in for a highly unsettling experience, albeit a rewarding one if, unlike us, they can actually make it to the finish line. Number 4, Layers of Fear. You could, under certain definitions, call this one a bit of a wildcard entry, oh goodness me, on the basis that Layers of Fear isn't so much terrifying as it is just horribly anxiety-inducing and unsettling. Playing as a schizophrenic artist working on his magnum opus, you move from room to room solving puzzles and enduring scenarios that get gradually weirder and weirder. Changing paintings, melting walls and creepy music boxes are all par for the course as you make your way through the enormous house, trying to work out what on earth has happened. The disquiet this game gives us is more from a sense of something just not being right, rather than an ever-present stalking evil, and the game plays cruel mind tricks on the player, which have you doubting your own sanity as you wonder if the thing you think has changed has actually changed at all, or if it's all just in your head. The thing about Layers of Fear is that we didn't really find it all that scary, at least not in the traditional sense, but the feeling of unease that it left us with meant that we struggled to make it to the end without lashings of chamomile tea and some soothing YouTube videos of whale song. Oh, that's better. Number 3. Forbidden Siren 2. While some of the entries on this list are slow burners that gradually build terror, Forbidden Siren 2 is certainly not that. Hailing from a trio of petrifying games, Forbidden Siren 2 stands out from its siblings for a number of reasons. Players are required to take a plethora of protagonists through their own scenarios, avoiding the monsters that stalk the cursed Yamijima Island. Whilst you can fight back against the enemies to an extent, you must also rely heavily on stealth in order to get yourself out alive. You're assisted along the way by the rather intriguing sight-jacking mechanic, which allows you to look through the eyes of the monsters themselves in order to best formulate your plan of attack. However, there are no peaks and troughs in this game, which is what makes it such a monumentally horrifying experience. Players are kept persistently on edge, and are required to maintain composure and stealth at all times. It's an intense experience, and definitely not one that you'd want to play in the company of your nan. Should have you washing your mouth out with soap before you know it. Number 2. PT. Oh my god, a second wild card! We've never had this before! Now I know what you're going to say, dear viewer. But Peter, no one could finish PT. The full game it was intending to tease was cancelled! But here's an idea. Shut up. The game it was intending to tease was called Silent Hills, and this entry is called PT. It's a playable teaser, I know, but I think it still counts as a game. We're gonna go with it. Just, jeez, get off my case. Another entry that leaves the player utterly powerless against the supernatural forces at work, PT is a masterclass in building tension. Playing out on a loop, you repeatedly circle the same hallway over and over again, and puzzle your way through the ground floor of this large house, which on paper doesn't sound all that scary. But what PT nails is the atmosphere of real terror, slowly building up the tension by utilising sneaky sounds heard throughout the house, and the occasional horrifying visual to give the player that awful feeling of constant paralysing unease. The looping hallway doesn't help either, constantly reminding you that there is very much no way out of this place. Despite the small amount of gameplay that players were, and I use this term loosely, treated to, PT packed an almighty punch that left us truly shaken to the core, and that's why it is well deserving of a place on this list. And number 1, Outlast. For our final entry, our writer wishes it to be known that she made it a sum total of 30 minutes into the delightful gameplay of Outlast before swiftly peacing out and going back to watch cat videos on YouTube in order to calm her tattered nerves. Yes, this may well be the only entry in this list that Ben and I have actually finished, on stream no less, but other members of the team and the wider gaming community definitely haven't.
Alexa, when do I get the gun?
Set in Mount Massive Asylum, which is just the best name ever, a psychiatric hospital owned by the notoriously unethical Murkoff Corporation, Outlast sees investigative journalist Miles pay a visit to the hospital in order to check that everything's up to code. Only it isn't. It isn't up to code. It is all very not up to code. Another scenario where you're armed with nothing but a camera as you traverse the halls of Mount Massive, you're charged with sneaking your way around the place to uncover the truth surrounding rumours of heinous patient experiments, all while trying to avoid said experiments and patients at all costs. Oh yes, and it's worth mentioning that your camera is your only means of seeing in the dark, of which there is lots, and it has a worse battery life than your 10-year-old iPhone, so it might be worth stocking up on a bumper pack of Duracells before you visit. Either that or just lots of spare boxes. Alternatively, here's an idea, just don't go at all. That's probably what I'd do. And that's our list. But what other games had you soiling your undergarments? Let us know in the comments below so that we can avoid them like the plague. You can follow myself and TripleJump on Twitter here, and if you want to support the things you enjoy, then check out the rewards on our Patreon. Finally, don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. I've been Peter from TripleJump, and thanks for watching.